Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow virtual farm tour. We are so excited that you're joining us today as we not only get to tour a dairy farm, but also explore careers in the dairy industry by meeting a few dairy professionals who work with our dairy farmers. First, for anyone that is new to the Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow, this program is provided by the Dairy Excellence Foundation in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and is available to students and teachers all across the country. The Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow program is a comprehensive program designed specifically to prepare high school students to pursue careers in the dairy industry. Using a three-part model, Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow offers classroom curriculum, scholarships for educators and students, and on-farm experiences just like this virtual tour today. We welcome you to check out our website at dairyleadersoftomorrow.com. And we'll go ahead and put that link for you in the chat feature so you can access our website if you'd like to check it out. Again, that's dairyleadersoftomorrow.com. To learn more about the program and to see if the curriculum would be a good fit for you, go ahead and check it out. Next, as everyone continues to join us live today, you can see that that chat feature is enabled. Please feel free to use that chat feature and comment, ask questions throughout the tour. We are excited that you're here. We're excited to answer those questions for you. And I know all of our farmers and different station representatives are excited to answer them too. So feel free to use that chat. We will be watching it and we'll make sure to ask those questions to our group leaders. This afternoon, we are visiting a dairy farm in Southeast Pennsylvania called Walmoore Holsteins. Walmoore Holsteins is owned and operated by Walt and Ellen Moore and family in Cochranville, Pennsylvania, where they milk over 1,000 cows in a double parallel parlor 3 times a day. Farmer Walt and his employees not only care for the cows that produce their milk on their farm, but they also ship their own milk to a local dairy processing plant. Today, we will get to take a quick tour of the farm, learn about sustainable farming practices used on the farm, and hear about some pretty cool careers like hoof trimming and milk hauling. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to kick off our virtual tour today by meeting Farmer Walt Moore, who will share his background of the farm, as well as take us on a tour of the milking facility. Hey, Farmer Walt, how are you doing today?
Great, thank you. How are you doing, Brittany?
I am doing great. We're excited to be here.
I'm excited to have everybody. Looking forward to a great tour today and welcome all you out and about. As Brittany said, I'm Walt Moore and my wife and I, Ellen, are in partnership here. Walmoore Holsteins, we're 4th generation and we have 2 5th generation folks here on the farm with us too. So our farm got started back in 1909 by my great grandfather with 20 cows, and we've grown it to today, as Brittany said, to over 1,000, and we're all Holsteins, milking 3 times a day. And we're making in last year we made over 31 million pounds of milk.
Wow.
Which feeds a lot of people. And
Yeah.
so and we're thankful to be close to a lot of people in our markets. And as Brittany said, we're part of Land Lakes Co-op, who is our marketing arm, and they work in conjunction with some of our local partners like Wawa and Hershey Foods and Lansdale, Lehigh Valley. And so we send our milk into a lot of different processing plants, and it gets made into lots of great products. So we're really happy and proud to be part of that chain of making great dairy products. So we employ 15 people full time. We also in partnership with another great dairy up the road, Arjoy Farms, and Dwayne and Marilyn Hershey, and my wife Ellen and I and them are in partnership on our milk hauling, and you'll get to see part of that. Dwayne's here today too to highlight part of our milk, how we do our milk hauling. So we farm about 1,800 acres. That's in corn, wheat, rye, soybeans, and triticale, and alfalfa are our main crops, and that's all fed to our cows. So that's another whole set of our operation, and that'll be another segment in kind of our sustainability part of our tour, where 2 of our employees, Chase and Luke, will share a lot of that as we go forward. So, and another thing that we're going to highlight today here is Mikey Barton as our hoof trimmer. So just like people, we need to cut our toenails and our fingernails, and all our cows get their feet trimmed twice a year. And he's here on the farm today, going to demonstrate how he trims feet. So that'll be yet another station, and he'll talk about kind of the whole locomotion of cows and those kind of things. So really excited to have you. And finally, I'll dive deeper into what's going on with our our cows and milking, and you're going to get to see a video of our milking up close. And then I'll go deeper into some of our dairy herd management and managing the cows and those kind of things. So looking forward to a great day.
Awesome. We are so excited to get to hear all of those. And I know I'm personally excited to see the hoof trimmer. I haven't really seen it in person too much, and I'm sure those who are watching haven't seen that before too. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for everything to come. Walt, it's been great catching up with you here. I know we'll touch base with you in a little bit, but Walt's going to go ahead and head on over to somewhere else on the farm. We are going to go ahead and get the video pulled up that Walt was talking about. We have an awesome short little video here for you that you can get to see how the milking process works at Walmoore Holsteins. So we're excited to show that to you. We have a video, so that way we didn't have to deal with any bad service while we're in the parlor. But stay tuned for that video here. We're going to go ahead and pop that up on the screen so you can watch that. And then we will join back up with Walt again to ask questions. And he's going to share a little bit more about the farm. And we'll get to see the parlor from his gallery view where we're going to be joining back up with him. So without further ado, we're going to get that video rolling for you.
All right, welcome to Walmoore Holsteins. I'm going to show you our double 18 parallel milking parlor and a little bit about the prep of and how we milk our cows here. So on the left side here, the group is just being milked, and they're walking out and exiting. And then we have Carlos and Pablo in here milking this morning. And then they'll start bringing in another group of cows from the back. They'll walk in single file. You can look over here on the right and you can see the milker machine. This cow's being milked. So this is called a milking unit or a milking claw. This is the claw part. These are called inflations. This is up on the cow's teats. Cows have 4 teats, part of her udder. And you can see the milk's kind of surging. And you may be able to hear in the background a noise. Well, that's what's going on here is we have a vacuum hose which sucks the milk out, but we also have a pulsator hose, and that's these are the air tubes which makes the pulsation work. So what happens is it simulates a calf milking, so it's squeezing in and out instead of a constant suction. This cow's almost done milking. You can see the very little flow of milk coming into the claw right now. And in a moment, the computer knows when her milk flow gets to a certain rate, it'll stop milking. When that happens, the vacuum shuts off, and a couple seconds later, this rope will pull up, and it'll take the unit off of the cow. When she's done, then we come back in with what we call a post teat dip. There, it removed the machine, and we'll post dip this cow with this dip, which is a sanitizing solution basically, and it's a protectant that we want to put on the cow's teats to help her fend off any bacteria that might get on her teat ends in the next half hour to an hour. The cow's teat will naturally close up in about 20 minutes. So this is good for about an hour. So it allows that cow to helps her fend off any bad pathogens that we don't want her to get an infection or what we call mastitis in the udder. If she gets mastitis, we're not able to sell that milk for human consumption. So Carlos is going to jump down here behind us. So guys are just cleaning off the area where the cows are being milked. So we call that a deck flush system. As you can see, it's spraying. And then they're also using the hoses to clean off too. So just getting ready for that next group to come in. So Pablo just opened the back gate up. The cows will start walking single file. Of course, they're a little tentative because there's extra people here in the parlor. They're not used to extra people. They're used to the same folks every day. So, but they'll come on up, and then they'll make a right-hand turn on this side, or 90-degree turn, so that the guys were able to get to their udder and be able to prep their teats for milking and put the machines on. So there you go. You can see them turning, and then they'll start prepping here in a minute. So Carlos, our prep procedure here is for him to use these microfiber towels, and he wipes each teat off, dry wipes them. And there's 18 cows on the side, so he'll do the first 9, and then he'll come back here, and then he'll continue the next step of the procedure, which we'll show you here as soon as he gets to cow 9. Basically, we're trying to get any heavy dirt or debris off of the cow's teats. So the idea is to get them as clean and sanitized before we attach the machine, so that the milk is very, very clean, and that also helps the cow from getting an infection, possible mastitis infection in the future. So now he has what we call a foamer, which has a different type of teat dip on, and you can see it's blue in color. So that has a very quick, it's a very quick sanitizer, and it takes about 30 seconds for it to sanitize or kill any bacteria that's on the teat end. So then he's also what we're calling stripping, as you can see, a couple squirts of milk out of each teat. What that does is tells the cow, hey, it's time for me to be milked, and it takes her about 90 seconds to be ready from when he does the stripping to say, hey, I need to let my milk down and be able to milk. So once he gets done 9 cows, he'll come back to the front here and then wipe that sanitizer teat dip off, as we call it, and then he'll start attaching the machine. That's a chlorine dioxide based teat dip. That's one of the common ones, and another common one is an iodine based. So very common kind of household items that we use, obviously formulated for this purpose, but we use them to sanitize the teats and clean everything up so that everybody's getting nice clean milk. So now he'll come back, he'll grab a new clean towel, and then he'll start wiping them off and attaching the milking unit. So he wipes them off, flips the towel, does it a second time. Then he'll push the button up there, and it's changed the cow number from 1099 to 1783 because this is a new cow. And then if you watch right down here, the milk starts to flow into the unit. So she's getting a good letdown immediately. She's well prepped. She says, hey, it's time to milk. Then if we scan back up here, you'll see that this is starting to count up. So she's given a pound of milk so far, and she'll start 1.3 to keep it counts in 3/10 increments. And then, so you get the idea. Now Carlos is continuing to move down. He's attached a second cow, now a third cow. You can hear the vacuum start up when he turns it on, and you can also hear the pulsation noises. So the average time that the milking machine is on a cow is about 5.5 minutes. And then, as I said earlier, that the machine knows, the computer knows when she's done being milked, and it will shut the vacuum off and remove it automatically. So you can see this cow's milking right along. So each of our cows has an ear tag, and they have a red collar on with a red transponder. You can probably see there. So that transponder is a computer chip. When they come in the milking parlor to be milked, it reads that chip is transponder is unique to each cow. So for example, when this is the last cow that got milked, whenever we push this button to start the milking, it identifies the cow number, and then it resets this to 0. And as she's milking, we have a milk meter down here, and that reads and counts how many pounds of milk she gave. So the last cow here gave 32.2 pounds of milk while she was milking. For example, this cow here, number 1276, gave 39.8. So most of our cows are milked 3 times a day. So generally you would get that cow's giving about 3 times that amount of milk in a day. So to give you an example, milk weighs 8.6 pounds per gallon. So just on rough numbers, that last cow was giving almost 100 pounds a day, or about 12 gallons a day.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Walt. I definitely learned a lot about the milking process, and I'm hoping you all did too. That was definitely very informative, and I hope you enjoyed it. Walt is an excellent dairy farmer, and I'd be curious to know if any of you joining us today are with the Adopt a Cow program. And if you are, Walt is one of our host farmers this year, so you'll get to actually learn more about that in the Adopt a Cow program if that's your host farm. But if not, we hope that you can continue learning a little bit more as we go through today for our tour. So we are still getting ready to hop over to Walt, but we're not quite there yet. But I wanted to let everybody know that I hope you have your listening ears on, because at the end of our tour today, and after we're done hearing all of our presentations, we will actually be playing a Kahoot game. So make sure you're listening and you can get ready for that trivia. And you'll want to have some sort of device ready, either a laptop or a computer or a mobile device or an iPad or something, to get ready to play that Kahoot game at the end. So we're excited to do that with you once we've heard from all of our presentations. But it looks like we might be ready here pretty soon to shift back over to Walt. I think Walt is sideways right now. If we can just try flipping the camera once, and then we can
You hear that?
get him switched over. Do it one more time for me. And there we go. All right. All right, Walt. Hey, Walt, good to see you again.
Hi, Brittany. Thank you. Appreciate it. So I hope you all got to see my video and hear a little bit about how we milk our cows. And I just got our first group here, and I just want to welcome you all to Walmoore Holsteins. And we're currently in our milking center. We call this our observation room, and hopefully you can see with the camera a little bit here that you can see through our windows the milking is going on here. So we have this is what we call double 18 parallel milking parlor. So there's 18 cows on each side. And parallel means that they're standing side by side, parallel to each other. So it's hard to see them actual milking procedure from here, which is why we showed you the video of the milking here virtually. And but basically 18 cows come in. There's 2 employees down there milking them. They milk 9 and 9, and they prep the cows' udders and teats to be milked, and by cleaning with a towel. And we use a chlorine dioxide dip, and which cleans and sanitizes the teat end. They strip the cow's milk out a little bit to check for any abnormalities in the milk. And as long as everything looks good, they wipe that dip off again, and then they attach the machine. Each cow has a collar on, which is unique to her and her number. And when she comes in, she's read, that collar number's read by its computer chip. So we know who each cow is, and we record her milk every day, each milking. So we have 8 milking groups, 7 of which get milked 3 times a day. 2 get milked twice a day, excuse me. And so they average, I heard averaging about 96 pounds a cow a day, which equates to right about 12 gallons a cow a day, to give you an idea how much milk each cow gives here. So we're out at our farm. We're part of Land Lakes Co-op. So they market our milk for us, and they send our milk out to Hershey Foods for making chocolate. Wawa, which a lot of you I'm sure are familiar with Wawa, the convenience store nearby, Lehigh Valley Dairies, and some others. So, and besides that, Land Lakes also makes powder and butter out in their plant in Carlisle. So the machines know that when the cow's milk is slowing down to a certain flow rate, and there's a vacuum and a pulsation, and it goes simulates like a calf. I'm going to grab an old style bucket milker here, which is what was used by my grandfather and great grandfather, who my great grandfather started this farm in 1909. So it's been in our family 113 years. So this would have been similar to what he would have used after he quit hand milking the cows. So this simulates a calf's mouth, basically. So the cows have 4 teats. The teats in here, and this thing squeezes like this. So it has a constant vacuum, and then what we call a pulsator, which makes the squeezing action. Back in that day, they used to put it in a bucket, and then they actually would store buckets in a spring house to keep it cold. Then we got automated refrigeration, and then we went to bulk tanks, which are big coolers, which you'll see in another part of your tour. And then from there, we pump the milk onto a truck, and it goes to our plants. When the cows are done being milked, they actually apply another what we call post or teat dip, which basically sanitizes the cow's teat and sticks on there for about an hour. It takes the cow's teat about 20 minutes for its natural teat sphincter to close up and seal itself off. So out in the environment, there's all kinds of bacteria and things that can, are living and around that can get up in that cow's udder, and if that happens, she can sometimes get what we call mastitis, which is a infection in the udder. If that happens, we're not allowed to sell her milk. So then she goes to a special pen until she gets better. So by doing a lot of these things, we really do keep our cows clean, do these sanitizing steps, and try to keep them so we can keep selling all the really, really good milk. So our milk is, it's besides the quality there, which we're talking about, somatic cell count, which is white blood count on the cows. We also they check for butter fat and protein. So of course, butter fat, we're making cream and ice cream and those kind of things out of it. The protein pretty much goes to cheeses, and then there's other products like sour cream, cottage cheese, those kind of things. So lots of places that different things that milk can be made into. So each load of our milk is sampled for those components, and then that's how we're paid for our milk. So any questions at this point? So we're milking about 1,050 cows. I mentioned 3 times a day. We also have 880 young stock, which are from 2 years of age and younger. So heifer calf, a Holstein. These are all Holsteins. You may see a red or white one. It's a recessive gene. There's about 40 of them in a herd, and they're the same as the black and whites, other than their hair coat's red and white. So we also have about 880 young stock. So they're from 2 years and younger. At about 13 months of age, they get bred artificially. And we have several of our staff members are trained on artificial insemination. So we buy in bull genetics from around the world and made them with our cattle. On top of that, we have about 75, we call them dairy on beef Wagyu Holstein crosses. So there's a Wagyu, which is a beef breed from Japan. So we buy that semen in, and we artificially breed that to our cows, and we keep those cross calves, and we actually raise them and sell them, direct market them to consumers in the area. And finally, we also crossbreed to some Angus as well. And those calves are sold to another raiser down the road that just specifically raises the beef on dairy crosses. Besides that, we farm about 1,800 acres, and that's all to feed these cows. So corn, alfalfa, wheat, soybeans, rye, and triticale. And so we start harvesting as early May, triticale, which we double crop with corn. So as soon as it's cut off, we're planting corn. We grow that for forage. So we're cutting the entire plant, except for about the bottom foot, and that gets processed up, made into what we call corn silage, which is done wet, and it's cut into pieces about 3/4 inch long, and all the kernels and stuff are crushed. And we put them in. Some people are probably familiar with upright silos. We don't do upright silos, we do bunker silos, because we have so much volume. But we basically pack that in with big tractors with blades, and we need to put it in about varying around 35 to 40% dry matter or 60% moisture. And by packing it out, and we put 2 layers of plastic, and we put recycled tire rings on top to seal everything. That gives us feed for the cows year round. And that feed goes in there wet and has a lot of sugars, and it ferments, very similar to what beer and wine would do, except the alcohol goes away. So we don't have that. But so anyway, that's how we store it. So we do that with triticale, we do that with rye, we do that with corn silage, and also alfalfa. Alfalfa is a little unique. It's a perennial, so we only plant it once every 4 years, and it gets harvested 4 times a year. All the other crops get done once a year. How we doing on? So there the cows are exiting. So this is called a rapid exit. So all 18 cows come out at once. You guys are welcome to get up and look. And then got one that's going to make her own exit here. And then they'll put the gate down, and then they'll start entering here, single file. You'll start to see them coming in, and they're finishing up this group. So all the way to the left is what we call our holding area. And so we bring in, I mentioned 8 milking groups. So the whole group's brought in, and then there's a gate. You might be able to hear a little faint beeping sound. And Pablo down there, he's helping encourage them to come in. They'll come in and turn and get lined up to milk. So then they'll start prepping them to get ready to be milked. There's a group on the other side, so they're still being milked. And when they're done being milked, they'll get post-dipped, and they'll get released like this group. If you notice, that 4th cow in line is one of the red and whites. You can see her colors are a little different. These animals here we also group them by lactation number. So all the cows you're seeing here have only had one calf, or they're called first lactation. A lot of our cows go on to be second, third, fourth lactation animals. So their lactation is about 305 days or 10 months. During that time, they get fed again and are pregnant, and then they're what we call dry for roughly 2 months. And then after they're dry, that's the last 2 months of their gestation, and they have another calf. And once they have a calf, then they start milking again. So at any one time, we have 10 to 12% of the herd is quote unquote dry, not milking, and then the rest of them are milking. So also with the collars I was mentioning, the computer chips, so we need to handle these cows. It's a lot of cows to handle. So when they exit here, where they exited right underneath you, we have what we call a sort gate. So when the cows come through that, if we wanted, for example, 1791 down there, we can punch her in the computer, or they can punch her on one of those keypads. And when she leaves the parlor, she'll get sorted out into another rail. So if we need her to be checked by the vet, or we need to give her a vaccine, or we need to breed her or anything like that, that all can happen very easily. We do that and then try and put them right back in the pen with their buddies, so that they're not out of there very long. As far as feeding, we feed, every group gets fed once a day. 5 of the highest milking groups get fed twice a day. They all have, by their group, they have unique diets. We call it a total mixed ration, or TMR. So we have a person that just full-time does that, and he mixes up all the feeds that we raise. Plus, we buy in several tractor-trailer loads a week of other grains from as far away as Canada. Canola oil, or canola meal, excuse me, is a byproduct of the canola oil market. We feed molasses, which is a byproduct of the sugar market. So all those are basically they're byproducts of human foods. Wheat midds, which is the shell of a wheat berry, and the inside part, the germ, is ground up for flour for us. The outside part is a very good fiber source that we feed to cows. So all that stuff gets mixed. We have a nutritionist that knows, okay, this cow's this old, this is the production level we're looking for, these are the fat and protein levels we're looking for. And there's a computer program that analyzes all those things, puts it all into a database, comes out with a program. So then each group gets fed that diet each day. You think about a total mixed ration, it's kind of like a tossed salad. Everything's in together and you toss it all together. So the idea is every bite's pretty much the same. So, yep. So, okay. Any questions here? Throwing a lot at you. Nope. Everybody's quiet, shy. Okay. So, any virtual questions, Brittany?
We did have one virtual question, and it's just from something that you had talked about earlier. You said you had 15 employees, and we had someone who was just wondering that, do they live on the farm with you, or are they all family, or how does that work with the employees?
Okay, the question is, we have 15 employees? Do they live all with me? No, they don't live all with me. But no, they live on the farm? Just joking. We do have, let's see, 6, 7, 8. I think there's 9 or 10 that live in our farm housing, and that we provide, and then the rest of them own their own homes and live off site or rent an apartment or whatever. So, good question.
That's cool. Very cool.
We're transitioning groups, so whatever we want to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. We did have another question. Somebody was wondering, whatever inspired you to be a dairy farmer to begin with? Because it sounds like a lot of work. We've been talking about a lot of stuff. So, whatever inspired you to want to be a dairy farmer?
What inspired me to be a dairy farmer? It's funny. I tell the story. I really don't know. I think it's just in my blood. I'm 4th generation. Grew up on it. Loved it. I actually told my parents when I was 6 years old that I was going to go off to Penn State, take dairy science, come back and take over the farm. And that's pretty much what I did. So unusual for a 6-year-old, but so that's what I did. And I still love it, and I'm passionate about it. So, but it's a great, yes, it is hard work, but it's more of a lifestyle. We have a fabulous crew of employees that just are really great team. And that makes it fun. and we're in an awesome place to dairy farm here in the Northeast. It's great climate. I love cows. I love crops. I love it all. And that makes it fun when you're able to go out and do what you love every day. So it really doesn't feel like work. So
yeah, no, absolutely. We have a couple other questions coming in, which is exciting if we have a minute or two yet. Someone was wondering, how many years can you milk a cow for? So I guess what's the average lifespan, I guess is the question we're looking for.
Sure. I mentioned that the first cow on our farm, they have their first calf at about 23 months or, just shy of 2 years old. And typically they'll get into their third or fourth lactation here. So, if you add a year on average per lactation, so, they're up around 6 years old when they're most of them get unproductive at that point. Now we do have cows that get older than that, but that would be the kind of the average age.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. This is a good question. So we were watching the milking process. They were wondering, how does the machine know what it's doing? Like how does that work? Like you said, it comes off automatically. Like how does it even know what it's doing?
So I think I showed in the video, there's a meter down at the bottom. It's a flow meter that's recording how much milk is coming in and out, or from the cow. So there are sensors in there, and we program the computer, and it's the same across all the 36 machines, that when the flow rate gets to a certain level, let's say 2 pounds a minute of milk flow, it says, okay, we've gotten below 2 pounds a minute. It's time to stop milking that cow. So then it shuts the vacuum off, and then a few seconds later there's a rope that actually takes the machine off. But we don't want to just rip it off. We want to let that vacuum dissipate, so it comes off gently.
Right.
Good questions.
It's incredible. Yeah. Lots of technology on the farm, and I know you talked about the ear tags and everything too, which is really cool. One other thing that they noticed while you were showing us the parlor, they noticed the cows just did their thing. They walked in, they stood there, they just did it like they've been doing it for years. How do you train a cow to do that and like to get them in and come out so easily and calmly?
Yeah, great question. You know what? Partly they help train each other. That's a great question. When we first moved to this milking parlor, they came from a different style and they did not know the routine, and it was a challenge for a few days to get them to learn it. Before they are actually milked initially, there's a group of cows before they're having their calf. We walk them through here twice a week just to acclimate them to the environment. We actually will dip their teats just to get them used to that process, and it gets them used to the environment so they're not nervous and they're used to it. And the younger cows learn very quickly from the older ones, basically just watching it. Sometimes we have to get an employee in there and just kind of nudge them a little bit to get to turn the corner or that kind of thing. But it's amazing how fast they'll pick it up.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible. Well, thank you, Farmer Walt. It was great chatting with you. I know you've got your next group coming in, and so we're going to go ahead and shift to Selena soon here. But thank you, Walt. Was there anything else you wanted to share before we jump to the next station?
No, just enjoy the rest of your tour. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So we are going to move on to the next station, and thank you all for the great questions. And yes, thank you for Walt. We'll have to let him know that you guys were listening. You guys have great questions to ask, so keep the questions coming. I am going to jump over to one of our guests we have with us today, who is going to introduce one of our farm professionals. So she is actually our Pennsylvania State Dairy Princess, Selena Horst. So hello, Selena. How are you doing today? Oh, I think we're muted. Can we try unmuting? There we go. All right, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
I can, yes. Oh, now you're muted again. I'm sorry. I don't know. All right.
Can you hear me now?
Good. Yes, we're good.
I am great. Thank you all for tuning in with us virtually. So as she said, I am Selena Hurst. I'm your 2022 Pennsylvania Dairy Princess. So today we are here and we are going to be hearing about sustainable farming practices, which Farmer Walt uses on Walmoore Holsteins. With us are Luke Trice, who is the crop manager, and then Chase Mitchell, who is our service manager for Walmoore Holsteins, to talk about the processes of sand reclaiming and manure separation, as well as their roles on the farm. So I'm going to transfer this over to you.
Awesome. I am really excited to hear more about this. So if you didn't hear what she said sand reclaiming. So we're going to learn about the sustainability process of how they actually reuse sand on their farm. And we're going to get to hear from Luke and Chase about this experience on the farm. So we're really excited. So I am going to, I believe they're ready. So I'm going to pass it over to one of them. I'm not sure who's up, but go ahead, guys, and take it away.
Okay. It's kind of weird because I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to all you. But yes, yeah, I'm Chase. This is Luke. We're talking about sustainability, and I guess we're going to dive right into it. I was kind of talking to them while we were kind of switching the camera around a little bit, but we're going to dive into sand reclamation. So here at the farm, and you probably saw it when you walked down, bunch of piles of sand around here. And what we do with sand is we basically reclaim about 70% of the sand that is used for the bedding. And what it does is it comes down through our flush lane with manure, and we take it out of there. And as the group was coming down through, you probably saw that big green machine over there with a hopper on it. What we do is we put it in there. That's a sand shaker. It basically shakes all the water out of it, makes it a little drier. And from there, it's a pretty complicated step. We make a big pile of it right over here. And then we move that pile over to a pile over here. And we let that sit for about 6 weeks. We found that that helps kill off the majority of the bacteria that likes to grow manure with the sand. And then after it's sat in that pile for about 6 weeks, we like to move it out in these little ricks during the summertime and when the weather's fair. And we roll it back and forth to dry it down. And once it's dried down, then we'll scoop it all back up and we put it back into our barns up here. And that's what the cows are bedded with. So the sustainable part about this is we're not pulling in a bunch of sand throughout the year, because it's about 10 triaxle loads of sand a week, which is what, 200 tons, Luke? 200 tons of sand a week. So if we had to truck all that in, that'd be coming out of a quarry somewhere. Not to say that we don't get new sand in, because we can't save 100% of it. So what we do use new sand for is for our calving areas, and we also have a pen for hospital cows. And we could use this sand. It's perfectly good for using for that, but we like to use brand new sand for new life and to get those cows that aren't doing so hot a little bit better. With the sand reclamation, so all the sand comes down our flush lane, and that has a lot to do with our manure system here at the farm. So all of our barns here are flush barns. So if you can see the cow towers that are all around, they're painted like cows. Doesn't have milk in it, it actually has manure in it. So basically, when the groups are getting milked, guys go through, they'll shovel the pens out a little bit, and then the barn is like a big toilet. So they flush that barn, and basically all manure comes down, comes through the flush lane down here and into our separator building, which is behind us here. And when it goes through the separator, it separates the solids from the liquids. And those are the two types of manure that we have here at the farm. So the liquids will either get pumped back up to the barn so that they can flush again, or it will overflow down to these lagoons, which we have 3 of. And there's about 8 million gallons worth of storage here at the farm. So there's 8 million gallons worth of storage of manure here. And typically during the spring and fall time, we get hot and heavy about emptying those lagoons out. And some of the practices we use to do that is drag lining, and we also tank manure, which we have a tank and a tractor sitting over here. That's one of the vessels we use to get all the manure out to the fields to add nutrients back to the soil. We also have solid manures, which is coming out of this building over here. That's what's separated off the liquid. We also have some bee spreaders running around here, but I didn't get a chance to clean one up, so I don't have one sitting here. And with the drag lining process, what we like to do close here to the farm, and it's cool with this on this farm, we actually have a mile worth of pipe buried underground, which we can tag into different fields up the road here and also here at the main dairy, and we can inject manure straight into the ground, which reduces odor, increases nitrogen uptake. What was the other? and reduces our compaction. It also lets us get about, what was it, 1 million gallons of manure pumped out in a day, which is super efficient for us and helps us get a quick crop turnaround for our double crop stuff, which I'll get into here right now, I guess. Yeah, if you want to, Luke. I'm going to switch over to Luke here.
So I do a lot of our manure management here at the farm, kind of in charge of everything. Part of the sustainability aspect of that, all of our fields, all of our crop ground, we actually soil sample every couple of years, and we figure out exactly what the soil needs. And then we're required by the government to sample all of our manure 2 times a year. So we pull those manure samples and then those soil samples, and we work with a third-party company who all they do is nutrient management, and they take both of those numbers, the numbers that the crops need and the numbers from the manure, and they give us exactly how much of what manure we can put on all of our fields. So Chase talked about some of our different types of manure. That solid manure has a higher organic matter content. So your fields that might be lacking in organic matter, we try to get that onto those fields. But then the liquid manure, we can put more onto our growing crops. You don't necessarily want to put that heavy solid manure on the growing crops. So we work with all of that, trying to be sustainable in that aspect. I'll switch back to Chase. Oh, I can, yeah. So here at the farm, we grow corn and alfalfa primarily. That's what we use to feed the livestock. And then here on the ground close to the dairy, we also grow triticale, and this year we're starting to grow rye. And that allows us to double crop. So we're basically planting 2 crops on the same acre. And that triticale or rye is planted this time of the year. We're doing that, broadcasting that on, and then just working it in lightly. That'll grow over the winter, and then we'll harvest that in the spring, and then we'll hurry up and spread manure and get our corn planted then behind that. And then so that's allowing more nutrient uptake from the same acre and giving us more crop volume off of the same acres than our alfalfa and the other corns on all of our other acres. We grow a little bit of wheat and some soybeans also for feed.
Okay, back to me. So some of the other things we have, and I'm sure you probably took witness as you're coming down, we have some of our equipment around here, which is a big part of how we're able to keep everything moving quite efficiently. So there's 1,000 cows up here. This year we harvested roughly 14,000 tons of corn silage. So typically, if I don't know if you guys have ever seen how the Amish do it, but they have a binder machine basically, and all they do is they cut the stalks down, they pile it up on a cart, they take that pile of corn stalks back to the silo, and then they chop it up when they get back to the silo. And it takes them a long time to harvest all that corn, and we went over 600 acres of ground fairly quickly. Probably, if we had to do from start to finish, it probably took us a week and a half, I would guess, to chop all that corn. So some of the sustainable practices we use to get all that done effectively is we have some of this really big equipment. So behind you here, we have a truck and chopper, and that chopper is bread and butter of how we harvest the majority of the crops here. We use it in alfalfa to chop that all up. We put it in a bunk silo, and then during the fall here, we used it this year for the first time. We actually made snaplage, which is just the ear of the corn. We picked that off, ran through the chopper, and also put that in a bunk silo. And then we also chopped the whole stalk, just like I was explaining with the Amish there, with that head that's on it currently. So that spends a lot of time in the field. And then when we go to manure hauling and all that stuff, we've upgraded our tanks significantly here the last couple of years. And also we've been talking about the drag line. That helps us move a lot of manure efficiently. That tractor there actually can do 43 miles an hour down the road, and that tank will hold 7,000 gallons of manure. And then a typical day, Luke, what you're doing 25 loads, so 350,000 gallons a day, which means a lot when you're working inside of short time windows. And if it's raining a lot or you don't have the best of weather, if you have one day to get something done, we're trying to get it done as quickly and efficiently as possible. That big tractor back there with that piece of tillage equipment on there, that is a accelerator. It does very little soil disturbance. It does move stuff around, but that's how we actually plant all of our triticale, and that's how we planted our wheat this year. So when Luke was saying we just broadcast it on, and then just they'll broadcast it on, and then all we have to do is drive over it once, and that basically makes our seed to soil contact, and it'll grow through the winter, and next year we'll start the process all over again with the chopper. So yeah, with that, that's basically what we have for our spiel. Do you guys have any questions on what? Yes. Oh yes, Rain. Yeah, the guy behind you, actually, Jamie, he's our Sandman. For lack of a better term, he's a Sandman. And yes, rain is a huge factor. And we've actually talked about like putting roofs up and stuff like that to try and reduce that. But what we like to do is, if we have a window of opportunity, Jamie works really hard to try and get things out. And we actually have, you can't see it right now, but we have an actual little roller and we roll it back and forth. So if we know rain's coming, you'll see Jamie out here, Miguel and the guys will all be rolling the sand back and forth, and we pray for sun and wind. Well, yeah, and I guess for the sand drying as well, we actually have a way to test it. So what we'll do is we'll take a sample of it, we stick it in a microwave, we weigh the sample first, and then we'll microwave it, get it dry, put it back on the scale, and then we have a percentage of moisture. So what we typically are shooting for is a 90% dry matter or drier is the goal. It doesn't always happen, but that seems to be our happy spot for what the cows like. Any other questions? Are any of you guys looking to get into something like this when you're done high school, college, all that stuff? Oh, Luke was just asking if anybody here had come from a farm or had any farming background, or do you guys show animals, or yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. Nice. And then I guess, do any of you aspire to do, something like this, or just be involved in agriculture in general, or, and what is that? What do you want to do maybe? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody from this side of the group? Because this side of the group's being pretty quiet. Okay. Okay. How do I do that? Oh, are there any questions virtually? Oh.
Yeah, anyone have any questions virtually? We would love, we actually did have a question. They were wondering how much does that big tractor behind you cost, or something like that big type of equipment cost to be able to run the farm?
It does, just so you guys know, because I'm the only one that can hear this. They wanted to know how much that tractor, the one with the tank on it, or
the red one. I missed which
the red.
one.
Oh, the red one.
Yeah.
So I mean, sky's the limit. It depends on what brand you have, and what you're doing. But yeah, the cost of equipment is not cheap. I would say. I mean, that tractor there is a 2013, so it's been around for a little while now. If I had to guess what it is on Fastline right at the moment, Tractor House, I would say that tractor's probably worth $150,000 to $200,000, and the piece of tillage equipment that's behind it is probably, well, probably more like 110 because the market's a little wonky with equipment. But yes, the cost of equipment is not cheap, but the way we look at it is you're paying it back every time you take a pass over a field, or you save yourself a little bit of fuel doing something. So that's why we have here at this farm, we're lucky we get to have a little bit bigger equipment and or toys, and get things done a little more quickly and efficiently.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions, virtually or in person?
We'll probably have a couple questions virtually, but we'll let you wrap it up in person first, and then we'll ask you some questions.
Well, I'm basically, I'm at the questions thing, because I wanted to have a dialogue, kind of a little bit, you can hear me talk all you want, but, I want to open it up because you guys probably have something on your head. Yeah. Well, you can see them. I don't know if you can get a hold of them. Yeah. Oh, she was wondering if she could see the cats. And yes, we do have cats on the farm. They are a part of our kind of ecosystem here. They are, they're in it for the milk. And also if we do have a couple little rodents that like to make themselves home in the trenches and around the grain bins, but they seem to take care of them as well. So any virtual questions? Because we got a live one. Like what I do here. So she wanted to know what I do here. So I'm the shop manager. So I speak for the machines. For the machines have no tongue. So basically, I take care of the equipment. I work on barns. This is my service truck that I drive around and try and fix things as they come. But yeah, I work a lot with the vendors, the equipment vendors, and things like that. So if there's things that I cannot repair, I will line it up to have it happen. But I do a lot of welding here, mechanic work. Yesterday we had a little bit of a plumbing incident. We had to dig up a manure pipe and put that back together. Right now we're actually digging a water line for a calf barn. So I was part of that yesterday. So basically anything under the sun that has to do with equipment or barns or fans. And then also, on the cow end, if these guys need help, we have an on-call schedule. So if overnight these guys have a problem, have down cow or something like that, and they can't handle it, they'll call us in. And so so for me, I had to be versed in the machine, crop, and the cow side, so that everything kind of jives. So a little bit of everything.
A question from virtual, and you were just talking about all of the different things you do. What kind of schooling or training did you need to have to get this kind of job?
So I did, so what she asked me what kind of school or training that I had. So graduated from high school. I went to Penn State University main campus, and I graduated with a degree in ag science and a minor in ASM, which is ag systems management, which is basically a version of ag engineering. So I wouldn't say my training came from that. I actually grew up on a dairy farm, so I've done this my entire life. Some of the mechanical skills has just been learned from being around people, and some of the other jobs that I've had was working on equipment. I actually did New Holland harvest support. I traveled all over the United States. I went to Germany and stuff like that, worked on combines for a while. And then, but basically, most of my mechanical training was just listening to different shops that I was in, and older folk, as you would say. They have a lot to offer. They know a lot of things. And if you're willing to sit down and listen to them, they will gladly teach you. anything you would like to know. So, and then it's just repetition, really. It's just, you have to get your hands dirty and keep on doing it.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Do you still have your group in person with you?
Yeah, we still do. Yeah.
All right. We would love to know what your favorite part of your job is.
Favorite part of my job?
Yeah, of your job.
I don't know. They want to know what my favorite part of my job is. It's hard to say. I don't. I've done this. You know, farming's been a part of me for a long time. So favorite part, I guess, when everything goes successfully. So when we're doing harvest, you know, my big scheme is to have everything kind of ready to rock and roll. So if we get through, you know, a cutting or silage and we don't have any major mechanical malfunctions, or if there's something that is broken, I can fix it real quick. I guess getting that win is my favorite thing, because there's, yeah, so that's probably my favorite thing.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Luke and Chase. On our end, we're going to head on over to the next section, and I think your team's going to be heading over soon too. So thank you to both of you for joining us today. We appreciate it, and we're going to go hop over to the next group. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. So we are going to go ahead and switch over to our next group, where we're going to meet up with Selena again. So let's see if we can get Selena back on here. Hey, Selena, are you guys with me?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Great. So we are here. Let me get my paper pulled up with Mike Barton, who is the hoof trimmer. He travels from farm to farm, providing cow comfort. He will be showing us how he trims dairy cows' hooves and talking a little bit about his career. So I'm going to transfer this.
All right. So we're really excited to hear from you, Mike. I know they're going to get that microphone switched over so that way he can hear us, but we are excited to meet Mike and hear about his career as a hoof trimmer. I know a hoof trimmer is really important in every farmer's team because good mobility is needed for cows to be able to get to their feed, to their water, and just to walk to the parlor and just to function every day. So we're really excited. I believe we're going to learn about it, and I think we're going to get to see an actual demonstration of it. So we're really excited to be with you today, Mike. And I think you're probably waiting for your group to come to you maybe, but we'd love to just chat with you a little bit until your group comes in. So hello, nice to see you.
Hi, thank you.
We're excited to have you.
Yeah.
So do you have your group yet, or are you still waiting for them?
No, I'm waiting for a group. Yep.
All right. So then while we wait for them, we just while we're chatting here a little bit, we would love to know what your favorite part of being a hoof trimmer is.
My favorite part is definitely the people that I work with. All the farms I work with are really great, and I enjoy, helping them out, but also enjoying my time when I'm at the farms.
Yeah.
And also along those lines, helping the cows out too. When I get a cow that has a little bit of a problem in her feet or something like that, I do enjoy trying to fix them and making them feel better.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way you're making it sounds like you don't just work with Walmoore Holsteins, correct? It sounds like you work with
No, yeah, that is correct.
farms.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That is
So
correct.
how many
Yep.
farms do you think you visit in a year?
In a year, probably at least 40 to 50 different farms. And I'll typically go to all of them at least once every couple months. Here at Walmore, I am here every other week.
Wow.
So every other Thursday I'm here. And we typically trim between 80 and 90 cows every time I'm here.
Wow, that's incredible. How long does it take to trim hooves for one animal approximately if they decide to cooperate for you?
One animal, 30 seconds, 45 seconds maybe.
Wow.
It does go pretty fast. Yep.
Is she one of the lucky ladies that are getting trimmed today?
She actually just got trimmed. She was my first demonstration. So she's kind of waiting to go back to her pen. Yep.
Gotcha. Oh, her hooves look nice and short and trimmed. Very nice. We're excited to see this. This is good. I do have another question. Is hoof trimming the first thing you've done as a career, or did you do something to get into this career, or what does that look like for you?
So I grew up on a farm, and never really thought that I was going to become a hoof trimmer until kind of just dawned on me one day. I was always wanting to help farmers in some way. And I thought this maybe was a good opportunity. There was a void kind of in the area of a hoof trimmer. So I just kind of jumped into it, and it really took off well. I got pretty busy pretty fast, and yeah, it's all kind of been really, really good so far. So
that's really cool. Now, do you own your own equipment as you travel, or do the farms have equipment that you work with, or how does that work?
Yeah, I own everything I use. I try to not use anything from the farm. I try to bring everything I need with me. And yeah, so I do own everything.
Awesome. And then you take it with you everywhere you go. And is it like a portable system that you take with you, or is it like a standing thing, or
No, it's a trailer. So I just go to farm and pull it with my truck. So
awesome. Well, thank you for answering those questions. I think your next group is coming up, and we're excited to hear you as you introduce the group. So I'll let you go ahead and start your rotation.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Leave it on. Okay. Yep.
All right. So he's going to get started here in a couple of seconds. So we'll let you guys watch his hoof trimming demonstration. Take it away.
All right. So yeah, I am a hoof trimmer. I travel around farm to farm, trimming people's cows' feet. Kind of the main purpose of trimming feet is to either treat problems that a cow has, or B, prevent the problems from happening in the future. Are there any questions before I do start? I have a cow I'll trim here, but if there's any questions, I'll answer them first. Go ahead. No, I didn't go to school for it. There are different clinics and stuff that I went to, and I just kind of hooked up with a couple of different trimmers in the area and worked with them a little bit. But there are schools available, but I didn't go to any of them. Yep. All right, so I'll trim this cow quick, and then after that, if there's any other questions you guys have, feel free to ask. I'll hold this. It'll be really loud. Yeah, probably.
All right, so it looks like he is going to go ahead and get started here. So I'm just going to kind of try and walk you through a little bit of what he's doing, since he took his headset off, so that way you didn't hear the grinding right into the mic. So right now, what he did is the cow went into the chute, and then obviously, a cow is 1,500 pounds. They're a really heavy animal. So we need to be able to get to their feet.
She has pretty good feet, but this foot here, when she sets it down on the ground, it'll be completely flat, and there will be pressure evenly distributed between all the toes. Whereas here, it's a little high up here, so when she steps down this foot, this will be the first point of contact, and then it'll kind of twist her this claw a little bit. So I'm just going to take this down completely and make it flat with the rest of it, and then that'll be good.
All right, so it looks like he was looking at the cow's feet and could tell that she just needed a little bit of a trim, but her feet were pretty good. And as I was saying, you know, they had to put them in a chute because they're a really big animal. So we've got to be able to get to their feet and in a comfortable position. So they're just laying down on their side right now. And he's just taking a nail file and filing down her hoof.
All right, so are there any questions now after I trim?
Not on our end.
So yeah, she has no problems whatsoever, and that's typical, especially here at Walmoore. And yeah, I'm just gonna set her down so she's not up for so long.
Awesome. So it was that quick. It was just as simple as putting her in, trimming them down, and away she goes.
Yep. That's the extent of 95% of my hoof trimming. So yeah.
That's incredible.
No other questions. What makes you want to be a hoof trimmer? Yep. Okay. Yep. Yeah, so sometimes they do have issues. Heel warts are probably definitely the biggest issue in dairy cattle. And that's just kind of like a fungus on the back of their foot that grows. It can be treated with a hoof bath, and most farms do run hoof baths. Here, they're very good with them, so I don't see any warts at all. But you can get them, and then there's ulcers and abscesses that happen inside the foot. Ulcers are just a hole there. It's because of pressure on the bottom of the foot creates bruising, and then that bruising separates the hoof and creates a hole in the bottom of it. They're very easy to treat. It's just a matter of doing it. And then abscesses are an infection inside the hoof that create like a pus pocket. But you don't see too many abscesses.
That was incredibly quick and seemed pretty painless and easy going. Now, will you just let her out now? Is she done, or is there anything else that needs to be done to her?
No, yeah, she's done. I'll let her out after everyone leaves, because kind of where everyone's standing is where she exits. So yeah,
Gotcha.
she's just kind of hanging out there for right now.
She looks pretty comfy. We had someone ask if you travel to different states for your job at all.
Yeah, actually, I'm in a different state right now. I live in Maryland, so, but yeah, I do. I typically stay within Maryland and Pennsylvania. Do a little bit in Virginia, and then a little bit in New Jersey and New York, but typically try to stay within Maryland and Pennsylvania.
Very cool. Very cool. And maybe those in person are interested in this too. We had another question. I know you mentioned you have a degree, but is this a profession that requires a degree, or is this something that a high schooler could just come out, start following and shadowing somebody and start doing without a degree?
Yeah, this does not require a degree. There are some farms that ask for kind of references and stuff, but I've never had anyone ask for really anything. There are schools for, and when I say schools, it's not like a 2-year school or anything. It's more like a couple weeks school. I went to a few clinics. I do have a degree from Penn State, which isn't really helping me for hoof trimming, but that's all right. But yeah, so there are schools available, but I decided not to do them.
That's cool.
Yep.
Very cool. There's a lot of interest, I think, in careers that don't require a degree. So I think that's pretty cool. This could be an option.
Yeah,
I think
no.
it's travel, and it kind of sounds like you make your own schedule a little bit. So.
Yep. Yeah, I do with kind of whatever I want, really. I do enjoy working, so I want to work as much as I can. But if I decide I want to do something on a Friday rather than work, then I have that availability. So that is nice.
Very cool.
Any other questions here?
Not virtually. Do they have any in person?
I don't believe so.
Is your group still with you?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
In a day? Typically we do between 80 and 90 every day. And I'm here every 2 weeks. So, yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is it just the sheer weight of the animal or is it the surface that they're walking on that causes their humps to get uneven?
It's more the surfaces that they walk on. So like here, everything's on sand. So the sand wears the feet down, whereas herds that bed with sawdust, you won't get really anywhere unless there's newer concrete. So yeah, it just depends. It's more the facilities because the feet kind of grow with the cow, right? So a bigger cow has a bigger hoof, hopefully, unless someone trims it away. But yeah, so you usually don't run. I mean, sometimes with like 8-year-old bulls, I had one actually yesterday. He was probably 2,500 pounds at least, and just didn't have, his hoof was not big enough for him, right? So it was just, he was very uncomfortable. And at that point, there's really nothing you can do about it. But a cow typically, yeah, it's more the surfaces. Yep. Yeah.
Awesome.
Go ahead. Just kind of did it. I bought a cheap chute at first. Yeah, this is mine. Yep. Yeah. So I try to use everything on my own. I try not to borrow anything from the farm. And yeah, so I bought a pretty cheap chute just to get me going and get my feet on the ground. And then invested in this here after about a year. But yeah, you just kind of got to spread the word and create a good name for yourself, because bad word travels a lot faster than good word does. So, don't jump into anything too fast. If you think it's kind of out of your skill level at the moment, then just kind of pass on it, and hopefully you'll be able to come back to it, So I definitely learned that quickly, though, that if you get a bad name for yourself, and especially hoof trimming, because if you do something to get yourself a bad name, then you probably screwed a cow up, right? So the farmer doesn't really like when you do something bad to their cow, right? So
yeah, it would definitely be important to keep all the farmers happy, right? And making sure that the cows are kept to the best of their ability. So yeah, absolutely. So I know you're still with the people in person, but we are going to move on virtually to another station. So thank you so much, Mike, for spending some time with us here. We appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. Awesome. I know They'll take your headset. Awesome. So
Yeah, thank you.
virtually, guys, we are going to go ahead and move around the farm a little bit and just kind of show you some things on the farm and take a little walk around. And it looks like someone else is going to throw on the headset here and hang out with us for a little bit. So I'm not sure. I see somebody else. So hello.
Hi there, how are
you?
you?
On to the next spot. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So who do we have
My
here?
name is Jamie. I'm
Hi,
Jamie. And who am I speaking with?
I'm Brittany, and you have me and a bunch of classes who are joining us virtually here, watching and chatting. So we'd love to hear your role on the farm. We can go take a walk and what you do. And yeah, just tell us a little bit about you and your career. And we'd love to
Well, I
hear
hope I don't bore everyone to death, but so I've been employed at Walmoore Holsteins for 2 years. I actually grew up on a family farm in the Midwest. So farming is something that has just kind of been with me my whole life. And I got an incredible opportunity to come here and work. And I do a variety of things here at the farm, assisting with crop production and manure hauling and sand conditioning, because we use sand for bedding for the cows. So, you know, whatever is necessary to keep things moving at the farm is kind of what I do.
Cool.
We might have to go around now. I'm sorry, because they have the cross alley because they're bringing in another herd. So those gates will stay like that. Yeah. So we're going to take a walk around the other way.
What are those big cow printed tower things that we're seeing next to you?
Those are the flush towers. So we use, I guess you could call it like a gray water, but it's actually manure water, and it gets recycled. And when they move a herd to get milked, there's a big valve on it. I don't know if you can see the big tube coming in. So when they open that valve, it just comes out like a river, and it flushes all the manure and waste that the cows have left in the alley, and it flushes it down to our manure separator system. So that's what those are. It's funny because
cool.
everyone that sees them thinks that there's food in them. So
Not quite, right? Not quite.
not quite. No. That's how we clean the barns when we move the herd of cows to get milked.
So does that run once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day?
Every time they take a group in for milking they'll flush. So it's a number of times a day. So it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's constant all the time, but it's late morning and early afternoon is when it really ramps up, because they bring a lot of larger groups in. So there's a lot more barn to flush. So, but like two to 3 times a day, I would say.
Okay.
It gets done because we have groups that get milked twice a day or even 3 times a day. So, you know, they're going to get that extra cleansing as needed.
Sure. And I think it might have been mentioned earlier, but this is recycled water, right? So this is water that's been
Correct.
used somewhere else or pulled just from rainwater in general. So that's pretty cool. It's a way to recycle water on the
Yes.
farm.
Yep.
Awesome. Very cool. So where are we walking outside of now? Are the milk cows behind you or next to you?
Yeah. So to my left is our this is the big barn. This is where the majority of the herd is. So we're just walking down around the outside because they had the middle closed off because they're bringing a herd in. And then directly in front of us is, these are all grain bins. They have different grain commodities in them that when we mix feed, we'll come up here with the tractor and the feed wagon and add the appropriate ingredients based on what group's getting fed. Because we have like lactating premix, and then we have non-lactating premix, canola, molasses, brown corn, excuse me, and a couple other ones, I forget what they are, but just kind of a variety of grain commodities that gets mixed in with the other feed that we feed the cows with. And then this big barn is where we store sand when it's dried and ready for bedding. That way the gentleman that applies the sand in the stalls has just a really short trip to make with the machine, and he can get in and get out in between when the cows are being moved to milk.
Okay, so we actually were talking with some guys that were working with that a little bit. We saw those big piles of sand that they move from spot to spot. So then that's where it ultimately goes then, correct? So the sand is recycled,
Correct.
it's washed out with that flush
Yep.
system. It gets dried
Yep.
over days, weeks, and then it gets put back out. That is incredible.
Yep.
I
Yes,
love
it is.
how eco-friendly, I guess you could say, environmentally friendly it
Well,
is. Awesome.
Thank you. We try very hard, and
Yeah.
we also try very hard to turn over the highest quality sand we can, the driest sand we can, because we have found that when the sand's really wet, it can be a breeding ground for bacteria, and especially mastitis, which is not good. So the better
Sure.
the sand, the more comfortable the cows are, higher quality of milk. It's just a win-win situation for everybody and for
Yeah.
the farm as a whole. So
Yeah, absolutely.
we are at our next station here. So
Awesome. All right. Sounds good.
Pardon
Well,
me.
thank you so much, Jamie. It was great chatting with you. Then I am going to get ready
Thank
to
you.
turn it over to Miss Selena. And thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
So there we go. They're coming in here. All right, Selena, do we have you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. It's a little bit in and out, but I
Could
think
you
I
hear
can
me,
hear you.
Brittany?
I can, yes.
Okay, we don't have very good service here, so we'll have to try to do our best.
Gotcha. All righty, go for it.
Not trying.
Oh, we may have lost her.
Maybe. She
All right, go
said we
ahead.
might have lost her.
Go ahead, Selena, give it a
Oh,
try.
you can hear me now?
I can,
All
yes.
right. So today we are joined with Dwayne Hersey, who is co-owner of Moochow Milk Transportation. Dwayne and his wife, is it Marlene or Marilyn, own, is it Arjoy Farms? They partner with Walmoore Holsteins to transport both milk to local processing plants. Dwayne will be discussing milk hauling and careers within the business.
Very cool. Awesome. We are really excited to get to talk to Dwayne Hershey and talk about their partnership and like their co-working with Walmoore. And just if you don't mind, Dwayne, just kind of starting from the basics, what's the big thing behind you, and then go into what you guys do with Walmoore. So thanks so much for having us today. It looks like we might have accidentally lost him. So sorry about that. Hopefully we can get him back on here in a couple of seconds. It looks like maybe they accidentally hit a button on the headset. But we're excited to hear from Dwayne, and we're going to be talking about how milk is moved and hauled from the farm to you in the school or in home. So, all right, I think we have you now. Are you there, Dwayne?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to let you go ahead and take it away.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. Like she said, my name's Dwayne Hershey, and my wife Marilyn and I and Walt and Ellen formed a small LLC about 15 years ago because both of us had a milk hauler that was retiring, and we looked at the numbers and we decided, hey, is this a chance that we could run a small milk trucking company and be profitable? And we looked at the numbers. It looked like it would work, and it has worked extremely well. Just like we take care of our tractors and our farm equipment, We just added the milk trucks and the trailers and do a lot of our work in-house. Keep going. Okay. So we're standing in front of a 7,500 gallon trailer. This trailer was purchased used, and it gets loaded once a day. And we have here at Walmore, Walt takes his milk to Wawa at 6:30 every morning to be bottled, and goes to a lot of the Wawa convenience stores. So milk gets pumped onto this trailer at 36 degrees, and it's stored here until it leaves, which is normally the next morning we'll leave. We have drivers. We have a half a dozen part-time drivers that come here to Walmore. They clock in, get in their truck, hook up to the trailer, take their paperwork, and they go to their destination. Our milk is marketed through Land O'Lakes Co-op. And like I said before, Walt's milk goes to Wawa. He ships 10 loads a week here from the farm. And our milk goes to Lansdale plant in Lansdale, Pennsylvania. And we go eight times a week. We have loads to leave the farm. There are times when we go to Hershey Chocolate. There are times when we go to Carlisle plant to be made out of butter. And there's times we go to Laurel plant in Laurel, Maryland. So you want me to keep talking, Jade? So we're going to go in. Okay. We're going to look inside the milk house to see the milk tanks. Hi. Come on in. So here in the milk house, the milk is being pumped into these tanks because we're milking 24 hours a day. We got 2 tanks. So they would pump milk into one tank until it's full. And after that tank is full, it gets flipped over to the other tank. And so when we got one full and we have an empty trailer, that gets pumped into the trailer, and then we'll go out the next morning. The milk is tested for antibiotics here at the farm. If there's any chance of antibiotics, it gets caught here at the farm. We have the same testing equipment that they have at the milk plant. So when the milk gets to the plant, it gets tested again. It gets tested for butterfat protein, and which is how we get paid. For our milk. We get paid for 100. We get paid per 100 pounds, and if it has a high protein, high butterfat content, we get a little bit more. And we want it to be low in somatic cell count. The milk has to be, the tanks have to be washed after each use, and it gets rinsed first with warm water, and then a detergent, and the cleaner we can keep our equipment, the cleaner our milk is.
You mentioned somatic cell count. Do you mind just explaining what that is a little bit more and the true importance of that?
Okay, yeah, the importance of somatic cell count, and I might not be great at explaining it, but the higher the cell count, the higher risk of like a mastitis infection in the cow's udder. So keeping it clean, keeping the udder disinfected. Basically, it's doing the best job you can in cleanliness, and we get paid a bonus. If it's a higher somatic cell count, the milk shelf life is altered some. When it's pasteurized and homogenized at the store, that takes care of anything that might be there bacteria-wise. But the lower the count that we can have here on the farm, the healthier our cows are.
Very cool. Thank you.
So the milk travels. I don't know if Jade, if you can show the plate cooler. The milk, she's showing you now a picture of the plate cooler that little rectangle stainless steel box has in it. The well water is flowing on the outside of the plate, and then milk would be on the inside of the plate. And is a cow's body temperature, roughly 100 degrees, and it will knock 25 degrees off the milk instantly. The water then is going into an underground tank that gets pumped up to the cows to drink, so that water is not wasted. And then the milk coolers that are behind you there don't have to work as long to get that milk down to 38 degrees. It has to be under 40 degrees to be put on the trailer. And if the milk gets to the plant and it's 41 degrees, sometimes they give you a warning, and sometimes they'll say we can't take it. And then shipping to a co-op, we are allowed to take it to Carlisle butter plant to be made into butter. But as far as a fluid plant goes, the cutoff is 40 degrees.
Wow. So keeping it at temperature is pretty important then for milk quality.
Yes, very important. Very important. Yep. Now in the summertime, the compressors have to work a little bit harder because it's cold, it's hot outside. And so, routine maintenance on the compressors, just like you got to take care of your car to make sure everything works correctly. A lot of times there's some debris or dust gets in the fins. In the summertime when it's really hot, it's probably our bigger challenges than in the wintertime for chilling the milk. So we just got to make sure equipment is serviced and ready to go before the hot weather. The trailers, like I said, the milk is cooled to 36 degrees in this tank. The trailers do not have any cooling capabilities, but they are insulated to the point where it can be sitting outside in a 95-degree day and it will not rise in temperature at all. If it does, maybe 1 degree. So, and that's because of the insulation and just the sheer volume of the milk.
Mm-hmm. That's incredible. You might have said this earlier, but if I missed it, how big is each one of those tanks in there?
The one tank in the milk house here this one here is 7,000 gallons. Tank number 1. Tank number 2 is 6,000 gallons.
Wow. And
like I said, our trailers we have a 6,000 gallon trailer and a 7,500 gallon trailer. So it's pretty much one tank per trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm holding a seal. This seal gets put on after the tank trailer is washed at the plant. When after it's washed, they put seals on and then they do some paperwork. And they'll fill out this. This is called a wash tag. So there's a paper trail that comes from the plant to here and from here to the plant. And part of that is these seals. So at any time, if somebody tampers with the milk, we're going to know it because this seal will be broken. So this number has to correspond with our paperwork when it gets to the plant. If our milk gets to the plant and this seal is not on the back door or it's not on the top lid, they will not take our milk because there is that small chance that somebody might have tampered with it. Now, we don't have problems with that, but from a food quality standpoint, that's the precaution that they take to make sure nobody has opened that lid or did anything to milk before it gets there. So it's a big deal. These seals are a big deal. We train our employees to put them on after they get done loading the milk. As far as loading the milk, you have to take a test from the Milk Marketing Board in Pennsylvania. They'll send a person down, and I think I have 3 or 4 guys allowed to pump milk, and Walt probably has a half a dozen or so. You got to take a test. It's called a milk handling license. And if you pass the test, then you get a little piece of paper to put in your wallet, and you're certified to be able to handle milk and pump it properly and do the checks and balances that it takes. As far as hauling milk, we got a visitor running around. As far as hauling milk, the truck driver has to have a CDL license. And since he is not actually pumping the milk, he does not have to have a handling license. He's the driver. He goes to the plant, unloads it, brings the empty trailer back, and but the CDL driver has to have a tanker endorsement. So sometimes now when the trailer leaves our farm and leaves Walt's farm, they're plumb full. So these are a single tank and it's plumb full, so there's no sloshing back and forth. If that trailer was only half full and your milk like to the front, and it actually could kind of through an intersection, which is not good. So you got to get a tanker endorsement part test of your CDL so you understand how to drive a truck with liquid in it. In other words, you just got to be more careful. But our trucks are hauled full, so we don't have that problem. What's that? Sure, we're going to take a step outside. Looking at the trailer.
So it looks like we're seeing the trailer that hauls the milk now, correct?
Yes, yes.
Now, is this the 6,000 gallon one or the 7,500 gallon one?
This is the 7,500 gallon one, and the legal weight for hauling for a tractor trailer on the road in Pennsylvania is 80,000 pounds. But dairy or milk haulers and feed haulers can buy a permit to allow us to haul more weight. Walt and I have those permits. When this trailer is full, we are right at 90 to 95,000 pounds.
Wow.
And the driver just needs to be, a little bit more careful. I have pulled this trailer. It is different. Being that heavy, you just go a little slower. You be more careful, pretty much. So.
Yeah, that's huge. And you said how many tractor or how many truckloads go out a week, would you say?
From Walmoore farms here, 10 loads per week.
10 loads per week. That's
10 loads per week. Most of that goes to Wawa Dairy. We have drivers that show up at between 6 and 7 in the morning and fill out the paperwork and get in their truck and deliver the milk. A lot of times today, one of our drivers hauled a load from here to Wawa. When he got back, he took his truck and came up to my farm in Cochranville, backed into my trailer, and took it to Wawa. So one load from here, one load from Wawa, and then he goes home. Guys that used to haul milk and pick up at 10 different farms or 20 different farms, they kind of like backing in and hooking up, and they only have to go to one farm, which there's benefits both ways. But we do all the trailer maintenance and the truck maintenance as much as possible at our shops. Walt has a shop with his employees, and I have a shop at my farm that we do some work. Takes a lot of maintenance, just like you're maintaining your car, your truck, our tractors. Keep the oils changed. It's been a learning experience. We've learned a lot about milk hauling just by trial and error. In the wintertime, it can be a challenge. But
Yeah.
what we've learned in the wintertime is since we usually have a trailer sitting here full, if it's calling for a lot of snow, we'll try to call the plant and see if they'll take it early. And a lot of times they will, because somebody is going to be late the next day if they're getting a lot of snow. So we try to do that to get our drivers off the road when it's the most dangerous. But yeah, we all have snowstorm stories that we could tell, and I won't bore you with them now. But like I told the groups that came here today, dairy farming and milk hauling is pretty similar because it has to be taken care of every day of the year, which there's no days off. Yeah, we get some days off, but somebody is working, somebody is there every day. We can't shut the cows down because it's called for a 20-inch snowfall. The cows don't understand that. So we manage around it and keep it moving.
Right. No, that is pretty cool that you guys went into your own transportation business and hauling business, and filled a need that you guys saw coming. So that's pretty cool. I know you talked a little bit about some licenses and things that you would need to be a hauler. What do you think are key skills that you would need to be a milk hauler, other than obviously being very careful on the road?
Just understanding that you're hauling a product that the consumer, the public is going to consume at some point, and it's our drivers take a lot of pride in that. So, and they can be a big asset to us, as in picking up small things maybe on the truck or trailer that need to be taken care of that maybe Walt or I didn't see. So we're asking them to be wide awake and pick things up, fix a little problem before it becomes a big problem.
Right. Awesome. Well, Dwayne, I don't know that I see any other questions coming in at all on my end, but this has been very informative, and we really appreciate you taking the time today to explain this adventure. Best of luck to continue this. I know it's 15 years in the making here for you guys going, and hope it keeps going for you. And you guys and Walmoore have a great farm, so it's exciting to see this happen.
Great. Well, thank you very much. It's been I've enjoyed doing it, and anytime anyone would have a question, feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's really kind.
Have a good day.
Thank you. You too. All right, everybody. We really enjoyed having you all today, and thank you again, Dwayne, our milk hauler. Truly, it is a crucial part in making milk and transporting it in a timely and safe manner to the processing plant. Without that transportation, you and I would not be able to consume and enjoy these delicious dairy products that we do. So it is a big thanks to Dwayne Hershey and every other milk hauler out there that keeps us running and gets that dairy product to the processing plant, and so that you and I can enjoy it. So it really is an awesome career to look into, and a vital part to keep the dairy industry running. Well, today we had the chance to tour Walmoore Holsteins, learn a little bit more about a few key people that make Walt and Ellen Moore's farm run smoothly, like the hoof trimmer, the milk hauler, and those crop managers. Special thanks to Walt and Ellen Moore and the rest of the gang for letting us tour their farm today, Walmoore Holsteins. It really has been a wonderful experience learning about it. And I know all of you who have adopted from Walmoore, as you could see, Walt is just a phenomenal farmer, and we're excited to have him on both fronts in the Adopt a Cow program and offering this tour for the Dairy Leaders of Tomorrow program, which has been a lot of fun. So today we're going to finish up by launching a Kahoot game to recap what we learned at Walmoore Holsteins. You can play online or on a mobile device if you go to kahoot.it. So we are going to go ahead and pull that screen up for you so you can see what that Kahoot pin is, and so you can join the fun. So we're going to go ahead and share our screen. And again, you're going to want to go to you're going to want to go to kahoot.it, either on the app or on a mobile device or on the internet. And you're going to go ahead and type in that pin 1533404 to join the game. We've got 10 questions. We're going to recap what we learned about Walmoore Holsteins, and then we'll wrap it up. So go ahead and enter that pin in for us and join the game. All right, it looks like we don't have anyone joining our game today, which is no problem, but we hope you all enjoyed the tour today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. It was a lot of fun hanging out with you. Again, thank you, Walt, for a phenomenal farm tour. We hope you have a moveless day. Take care, everybody. Bye.